Hello. So, first things first, I am going to try and be a little bit more open with stuff like physique updates and check-ins and stuff like that, just because I expect that sort of thing from my clients. I expect them to try and take an objective view, and yet when it comes to, taking my top off on Instagram or something like that, I'm usually pretty reluctant to do it. I have my reasons, but I'm going to try and be more open with that sort of stuff. So, what we're looking at here is my third upper body day of the week, my Friday session. So, as with all of my upper body sessions, I'm starting with an ab exercise because if I leave it till last, I won't do it. And my Friday exercise is, as you can see, hanging leg raises. So I think that this is my best ab exercise at the minute. This is the one that I get the best feel from. But I'm just basically trying to add reps from week to week. I'm not going to bother adding any sets from week to week because it's just abs in it. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of point. But I am trying to progress in terms of reps per set, which I am doing very slowly. So our first weighted exercise of the day is a weighted press up. Now the limit of this exercise is the backpack, and I don't know whether this clip will show it, but the bag slides around all over the place, and it's quite a pain. Plus, I can't get any more weight in that bag, so yeah, we'll have to have a think about what I'm going to do in terms of making this more difficult. At the minute, this was 17.5 kilos in that bag, and I did sets of 15, between 10 and 15, basically. Which is challenging. It's good at this level, but the bag's not going to last much longer. I can't get any more weight in there, so yeah. Fingers crossed it might last until the gyms are open again. But we shall see. So one thing that I'm doing with press ups that I wouldn't do with a bench press that I think might be a useful tip is I'm allowing my shoulders to, at the top position, sort of roll forward and then retract at the bottom to get a good stretch. Now I wouldn't do this with a bar. I wouldn't necessarily think of it as safe to do in a barbell bench press, but obviously with the way that we load a press up, that it is completely safe for your shoulder joint. And I feel like that extra reach just allows a much better feel in the chest. Bit of a grind at that last rep, but there we go. So third exercise of the day is one of my favourites, and something that is definitely, if I could only do 2 back exercises for the rest of my training career, it would be pull-ups and inverted rows here. So we've got 7.5 kilos in that bag. I'm trying to really allow my shoulder blades to come apart at the bottom and feel a really big stretch. You feel a line of tension across the back, and then start the movement by bringing those shoulder blades down and together. You get an intense pump through my upper back. Yeah, and it sort of allows me to not focus so much on my biceps and my forearms, and allow me to sort of drive my elbows down and squeeze my back. But this will be staying in when the gyms reopen, absolutely no question. Although I might try and find a better way of loading it. By loading it, I mean adding weight. Should have lowered myself down on that one. So here we have a little plant pot, and we have some dumbbell upright rows. I'm working on 12.5 kilos at the minute. Could go heavier, but I've only got 15 kilos per hand as room to move into. So I'm just going to keep going with these 12.5s until they're just too easy. My first set was 20, and I think my last set was 14, so I sort of dropped off. It was somewhere in between that range. I think when all of my sets are above 15, I'll probably have to move up then. So I'm thinking about driving my elbows up and out at the top position, so not just straight up like a lot of people do with an upright row. Allows me to get a lot more delt, but still getting plenty of trap in there as well. And one thing that I'm going to show from the side here is that I'm not necessarily dragging them straight up my body. The dumbbells come out in front a little bit. For me, just allows a little bit more room in my shoulder joint. Well, that's how it feels anyway. It just feels more of a smooth movement and less. There's less discomfort around my shoulder joint, which a lot of people can get with upright rows. Me, I don't know if I've got anything else to tell you on those other than the fact that I am training lateral head of my delts 3 times a week at the minute, and I feel like I might be seeing a difference, but I don't want to speak too soon. So, second bicep exercise of the week is hammer curls. Same again, I could probably go a little bit heavier than this, although I'm only doing sets of 12 here today, so I'll probably keep going until I'm at least around 4 sets of 15, and then I'll think about moving up in weight. But again, so something that's always been a weak point for me is grip strength, because I bought my first set of wrist wraps when I was probably 17, so I never went through the phase of deadlifting without wrist straps. So using that hammer grip as opposed to a standard grip allows me to train a little bit more forearms as well. And this was my last exercise of the day, which is an overhead tricep extension. So I don't mean to make excuses, but my overhead mobility is not good. And if you look really carefully when I do my other arm, you'll see that they don't really look quite even in terms of the position of my elbow, but I'm doing my best to keep those as consistent as possible. I'm touching the dumbbell to my trap or to my shoulder on each rep just to make sure that I'm going all the way down. And the more I do it, the more that range of motion is going to become available to me. So the reason I have my hand on my stomach here is because I'm trying to make sure that my abs stay tight. So when you are poor in that overhead mobility area, you'll tend to overcompensate by sort of arching your lower back. So I'm trying to keep my abs tight so that I don't do that, so that all of the extension is coming from my upper spine, my thoracic spine. Yeah, so it's something that will become more of an effective tricep exercise the better my mobility gets, I believe. But I mean, now seems as good a time as any to be working on it. Hopefully by the time I go back to the gym and I can use something like a rope or something like that, that's probably better for training triceps, in my opinion. I'll be more comfortable in that position, and it'll allow me to be more productive. But I get plenty of tricep volume through the week as well, so I don't worry too much if this isn't the most effective. It's just a quick look, a quick check-in. I mean, the lighting's terrible, but yeah. Thankfully, don't see much body fat going on at this stage because I am gaining quite slowly, but there will be a little bit around my lower back. But there we go. I shall keep you posted with how that goes. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, yeah, I'm not sure what my next YouTube video will be because this is all 5 sessions. But if anybody's got any requests, feel free to let me know.